Hi and welcome everyone. It's Lavender Sky Panther, and oh my goodness, it is Friday, March 31st, 2023. Or actually, we've already skipped into April 1st, where I'm at. It's in the wee hours of the morning, and I really didn't plan on doing a show. However, I just found this. I took this photo at 7 p.m. today, and as you can see, I am having a holy, you know what kind of moment here. Look what popped up in my photo. This is a huge planetary body, very close in the horizon, as you can see. This is at 7 p.m. looking northeast. This is not a lens flare. I repeat, this is not a lens flare. One, it is enormous. Two, there's a crater-like thing with like something kind of flying in or out nearby it. I also have places where you can see the curve is sharp and then it's kind of made like a void, but there's things coming in front of the curve and then it continues. So anyway, besides, there's no light source over here looking northeast at 7 p.m. The sun's already starting to go down, behind me, so to speak, where I'm taking the photo. So this show is number 186, called It's Here, It's Huge. A partially cloaked planet is nearby, exclamation point. And I'm understating the enthusiasm on this right now because it's super late where I'm recording. I can't yell. But this is like yell in excitement. This is huge. This is a huge discovery. So every time I do a show, I think, oh, I can't really discover too much more for the meantime. You know, these are pretty remarkable things, like the episode with Showing Furries Are Real from Sugar Seizes footage, or looking at the show called OVNIs, Outback and OVNIs, with some incredible footage coming in from Yowie Growls in Australia of this craft. It's enormous in the sky. And then here comes this thing, totally unexpected. I almost didn't even see it. Excuse me, and I'm going to tell you why I almost didn't see it. Actually, I'm going to show you why in 1 second. Before I do, I just wanted to say, when I'm talking about a planet, okay, it could be any number of things. If you look in the description box below, I talk about any number of planetary bodies that have been prophesized to come into our atmosphere, which we've been denied the pleasure, I say pleasure, of seeing, because it's supposed to be an extraordinary event. When this shift of the planet's happening, we're supposed to see these objects coming in. It's supposed to be a good thing, something to be like excited about, to see visibly, yes, we're having a change on this planet and a shift. I don't buy into the theory that anything this big, this close, is causing chaos on the planet. As you can see, if this truly is as close as it is here, the entire section of, city where I'm at isn't falling apart, and I'm in Miami. We're not having floods and tidal waves. So I don't really buy what we've been sold about what planetary bodies do, even if they are, if you move into the megastructure idea of things. The recent movie Moonfall made that very popular, to take a look at that. Absolutely, I do believe and support that the moon is hollow, that there's more going on there that we've been told. And I'm not sure what planetary body we're looking at here, since the moon may have been hijacked just like the sun, and there's a simulator. Who knows? Maybe this is even the moon, I don't know, or some other artificial body, or it could be a natural planetary body. I do just want to read very briefly. I just did a very fast internet search, so do look more on your own. Anytime I drop something down, research on your own as well. I invite you to do that. But I did want to look at the definition of planet, and just pulling it up quick on the old-fashioned Merriam-Webster, but online style. It says that that planet actually means wanderer. It goes back to ancient Greek, and I probably will say this wrong, but it sounds like planet, literally wanderer, which is derived from, and I hope I'll say this right, if I can read it, planasthai, a Greek verb which means to wander. The word was originally applied to any of 7 visible celestial bodies which appeared to move independently of the fixed stars: the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, etc. So I find that very interesting, and actually very consistent with what I've been feeling for a long time now, is things that we were never taught in school when we were younger. We were just told to rattle off different planets. Also, interestingly enough, to recite and repeat the order of planets starting from the sun outward and not from out in the galaxy coming back inward, curiously enough. But anyway, point being, I've always felt that, not only are other planets wandering, I feel the Earth, I feel that we've been off-roading it for many years now. A lot of other Earth and Sky watching channels have noted it as well, and just people out there saying, hey, why is the sun shining in this room at this time of year? It never used to before. So again, it implies that the Earth is wobbling, something's changing, something's moving. So if it's not the sun or the moon, it's us, or it's all of the above, I believe. Hang on one second. Okay, bear with me. It is like 4 in the morning, and when I step away, it's to clear my voice. All right, so that being said, as I also wandered all over right now, I just do want to capture and emphasize how big of a deal this is. To see this, again, I don't think there's any possibility it's a lens flare given the circumstances I'm going to show you in a second. So if we can take that off the table, oh my God, look how huge this is in the sky. Okay, this is just huge, huge. These trees, are right in front of me, are not that tall. And for this to occupy the entire frame, the photo, that just never happens. That means this thing is really, really close. Now there are FAA cams, and a lot of Earth and Sky watching channels are, doing a great job of showing the planetary bodies show up on those flight cameras, aviation cameras. But they, relatively speaking, look like maybe this big in the scene. This thing is freaking enormous. Okay, so I spent enough time on this slide. Let's move along. All right, so going back to the original photo I took. And you know what? I almost did not even take this photo. I was in a rush to go on an errand, and what caught my attention, funnily enough, I'm sorry, I got to clear my voice again. Hang on. Okay, I'm back. What caught my attention, the only reason why I took this photo, because obviously these arrows are defining the perimeter of that circle I just showed you, see? Okay, I'm going to go back and forth, rocket back and forth here, right? So I didn't see anything like that. All I saw was this. I thought, oh, that's a curious shape, kind of like a little pointed ellipse. I bet that's some kind of cloaking craft. I kind of made out that we have two concentric lines that are, more or less parallel in sky. And this was looking really weird at D. So I thought, okay, I bet you when I do my typical enhancement that I do on my channel, we'll get and pull out what's going on over here. It's going to be very intriguing. Well, as I was moving through, and I'll show you later in the sequence of my doing the progressive enhancements, and just for anybody who's new, and actually I always do this every time, thank you to everyone, whether you're new or returning to this channel. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate you and your time taking a look at some of these things with me. I never ever request this, but this is going to be an exception on this show. Kindly share it, kindly leave comments if you have anything to add to what I'm saying, or even just an affirmation if you see what I'm seeing. This is one that if I'm seeing what I think I'm seeing, my God, this needs to be shared amongst all, excuse me, definitely all of the Sky and Earth Watching channel community, please, because this needs to be talked about. I know we see it on the FAA cameras, the aviation cameras, but this now is just, observed from the street and is extremely close. Okay, that being said, so this is the original. Again, no sunlight, no source of light here, so therefore there wouldn't even be a lens flare to begin with, okay? So we're going to take that off the table. Going back up, look at the arrows. There we are. So there was no reason for me even to suspect there was anything bigger or planetary body hiding. That shows you how well this camouflage, this particulate in the air, just whites out the whole scene, so we don't see anything. Now, I almost missed this because when I do enhancements, sorry, I didn't finish up with that. Enhanced version of these photos just means that I've taken the original photo like this, and I don't have all these wild filters that a lot of people have that are really great. I just manually up or lower the levels of contrast, color saturation, brightness, maybe warmth and sharpness, and that's it. And so I just play with those and incrementally, slowly, move through a sequencing of all of that on my own. And that's how I pull things out. So, and better highlight what might be hiding in the photo, because, as I've said before, the digital cameras, I use my camera phone, just have such a vaster range of photo and light sensitivity to them than we do with the naked eye. So we can pull things out and see interesting things like color signatures popping up and all kinds of stuff. So here we go. So now I'm skipping around a little because I wanted to just show you this for the title photo, cover slide. But then also I wanted you to have that reference right away to see why I'm like freaking out over this in a good way, okay? So as I started doing the enhancements, that started popping up. So I'll get to that in a minute. Excuse me one more time. Okay, I'm back. So, but for now, we'll go back to the cover slide, and then I'm just going to do a little enhancement progression on the cover slide. So wherever you see 186 in the lower corner, that's where I'm just playing around with the cover slide, and we'll get to a proper progression of enhancements coming up soon. So again, here I'm looking at B.7, kind of a crater-like thing, and it looks like some type of object is coming out of it perhaps, and definitely something's kind of shooting off in this direction. We see kind of a negative trail, like a void out of a trail over this, overlaying this sharp line too. So again, you know, proving that we don't have a lens flare situation. Also, when we look down at this arrow to the lower right, you know, we see a void track of a curve, you know, that tracks perfectly with that. So again, not a lens flare situation. We have an object, okay? And I'm not even going to say it's a hologram because of this void track. We're dealing with some type of planetary body. And again, I can't tell you if it's a natural one or artificial, where there might be a, you know, megastructure type situation, or what we're looking at, if it's a moon or if it's a planet proper, no idea. But I'm just still trying to process this holy crap moment. What are we looking at here? Okay. So here I'm going to rock this back and forth. If you look at this little crater and you look at this outer line with me, including down by the arrows, you're going to see, you know, we get the perfect form, and, you know, we get that perfect circle happening. Okay. Now we're going to keep going. And now I've really blown out the contrast here, and we still have this line. And what's interesting is you can see it's not a lens flare because this, I know I keep saying I take it off the table, but I still feel I need to justify it even more when I get to each slide, which is very telling. In this case, it's very telling. Look at this. We've got the plasma, which I call, that's my go-to term for cloaking material. And I do suspect that this is some type of cloaking object that's springing up out of that crater. It looks like it is. It's taking a little trajectory arc coming out of that thing, out of that hole. And, you know, we can see it's like a darker hole. It's purple, you know, and then this is white coming up out of it. And we see the motion and the movement. And this, anywhere it's magenta, that's kind of like a plasma material, excuse me, or artificial, you know, cloaking material for this overall system, because obviously I couldn't have seen this thing until I really put extreme enhancement on it. So that's really doing its job to cloak everything. Okay, now we're going to move along. You know, still we have our perfect circle here. Again, our negative kind of, this is a weird, like, milky, ethereal, different kind of cloak than what's happening up here, okay? And so I think different layers and levels of beings. I don't know if we're dealing in the realm of elementals. These start to look like little sky people. That topic's been coming up a lot. Not only on my channel am I starting to see these what look like perfect humanoid sky beings, not just pareidolia, just they look like actual sky beings. It's starting to get really crazy. Again, other Earth and Sky Watching channels, they're pointing this out as well, kind of just intuitively. Things are starting to show up and you know, kind of make you go, what's going on here? So anyway, when I look at what could be sky beings over here, we'll get to that later. See this more teal cast, you know, kind of this is a demarcation line right here. Everything turns like this weird ethereal cyan teal with this like milky camouflage mirage effect, right? And then up here, it's a different kind of camouflaging, you know, and it's not as well layered. Anyways, let's move along. Oh, here, if you just look over to this left-hand side, I'm just, sorry, let's do it again. Here, see this line? I'm just illustrating the point that right here, we've got solid cloud moving over where this line would be, right? But you can still make out that the line continues, okay? All right, so let's keep going. Now I just took out all color because, as I always say in other shows, sometimes when we remove all color, it helps the eye to brain connection see things in a different way. And in this case, here's that, you know, what I'm just call a crater, a divot, a pit. Right here at B7, you know, it's still a clear circle, you know, where that's cut out. But then what the heck, where I have the question marks, that's where I thought we maybe had like a sky being sitting here. It looks like there's two eyes with a mouth, and this is the head, and it's looking off to the right. Um, anyway, but what is this? This is like a crescent shape. It's got a perfect curve to it. Then we've got a straight line coming out. Looks like something shooting off from this thing. You know, we're talking about we got a little craft going on with weaponry and things are shooting. We look at this crater part 2 and we get tufted up. We get this, what do you call it? This plasma tufting up, welling up to camouflage stuff, you know. I don't know, this scene is just really bizarre. You know, what's this coming across from the left to the right? You know, we've got this perfect line kind of arcing, you know, bowing a little bit. And same thing over here. But we'll talk about what's going on in front of here later. I don't want to distract from up here in our curve. Okay, so now, again, this is the original photo that I showed you before, just as a reference and as a marker. How the heck would I possibly see a planet or planetoid, you know, in the background? The answer is I wouldn't. Look at this. I don't see anything. I don't even see a hint of anything. And I'm really trained at looking at this for over 3 years straight, day and night, looking in the skies. And I even missed this. So, and like I said, whoever's doing the veiling and the camouflaging and the chemtrails and the chemical field trails, whatever you want to say, whoever's doing it, and I'm saying it's advanced, it's either, you know, a combination of things, you know, ET, advanced tech, could be interterrestrial, it could be elementals, you know, kind of more supernatural sky beings. It could be military, and it could be military collaborating with some maybe more negative-oriented beings. The list goes on and on and on. You know, I still also support that there are camouflage trails, which are non-toxic, just strictly there for smoke and mirrors, in addition to ones that might be toxic, the other kind, the chemical filled kind. But what I want to say is whoever's doing this, or whichever, how many different entities are doing this in our skies and making them completely veiled with, you know, solid like white particulate, they're good at also, you know, throwing in these little red herrings, like I like to say, like as distractors. So, you know, like I fell for it, you know, oh, look at, that's like a pointed ellipse. I bet that's a craft. Oh, what's this little thing? So that our eye is distracted and moved apart every which way at all these different weird outlandish shapes that can't even be called natural organic clouds anymore. They're done on purpose to distract us all over the place, so we miss that bigger picture, like I would have missed this huge thing. So I'm just throwing that out there. All right, now here comes my first level, my progression of enhancement. Now keep in mind, I was just doing this on my camera phone. Normally I like to do the enhancement progressions on a laptop and with my, you know, full software to do it. However, lately at times I will, and this is a note to all these Sky and Earth watching channels, if you're watching me right now, hope you're doing this too and compare your own notes on what you're doing, because I almost missed this. If I hadn't done enhancement, you know, playing around with the contrast and stuff on my phone, I would have missed this, because when I started to see this sphere, you know, presumed sphere disk, you know, pop up, that was on my phone. When I tried to replicate this and take the original and put it on my laptop tools, when I did my adjustments with the contrast, color saturation, all of that, it didn't pop up the way it did with my phone for some reason. So that was a very interesting curiosity. So I'm wondering how much I also have missed because I didn't compare notes and try to run up the enhancements on the camera phone and the laptop to compare. So anyway, keep that in mind, Sky and Earth watchers out there. So anyway, I did another progression, and then I'm like, oh my God, what is this? And that's where I first started to see this thing pop up. And then here's another progression. Again, kind of really blowing things out extreme to show, look at this white wall, okay? All where it's white now is heavy, heavy particulate, so that we don't see, you know, the bigger picture here, okay? And then we have a clear demarcation line where it starts to disintegrate and be pumped out less, right? Then we have something happening up here because there's some kind of cloaking craft going on in here, because we have this darker patch and it comes over this disc, right? So you can see a little bit of translucency, a bit of layering of different maybe dimensional stuff or states of cloaking going on with different objects. So we're going to keep going. Here, you know, this line starts to zigzag, you know, whatever's going on with this cluster. And again, I may cover D.3 on a longer show, not here. I just want to keep all focus on this bigger planetary body. And then here, if you look in the lower right hand corner, I'm going to toggle back and forth. Again, that's just showing where we still, if you track this through, this is a hard edge up here, and then it still continues kind of like in a negative void kind of way to show that it keeps curving. And oh my goodness, wow, the longer you look at these photos, the more you see. I'm looking at this on a laptop screen, and I can't believe it. I'm seeing the end of a pipe here. There's an actual physical cylinder that looks like it's projecting out of this bigger thing now. And there's actually the end of a pipe here, very clear to me. And it looks like stuff is shooting out of it. So this thing may also be generating, what do you call it, the cloaking material itself. This is starting to get really bizarre now. But anyway, this was looking weird too. We have this zigzag of the line. So much going on. And of course, the original thing I wanted to look at, I just left alone. But there's stuff going on behind here as well. There's a darker, shadowy figure behind all of this. So we've got layers upon layers upon layers of objects being cloaked. I suspect one is over here being cloaked as well. All right, so anyway, this little arrow, I'm going to toggle back and forth, just, highlights that, hey, yep, we still have, the curve continuous here, okay? Now, we're just going to look at the upper half, and again, we've got this object flying up out this way, darker shadow crossing across. Look at even the line of this darker shadow crosses in front of this thing as well. So again, we're dealing with layers of either multi-dimensions or just different stages of cloaking in ways we don't understand how that's operating, or at least I don't. And then we have this rigid line again, coming across. All right, we're zooming out a little bit to look at the whole thing again. So I'm just going to keep moving along. I just was trying to catch whatever, levels, even if they're very subtle, of the enhancement that I can, because maybe something jumps out to you out there as the people watching the show. When I'm looking at it, as I mentioned also in my other shows, I narrate this on a laptop screen, which means it's a bigger format. If I narrated this show looking at a smaller handheld device or thumbnail size, I would see so many different things and narrate the show probably very differently. So if I miss something, that you see if you're looking at a smaller format or even a bigger one than my laptop, let me know in the comment section below. It's unintentional if I miss something very obvious. Plus, again, keep in mind the lateness of the hour for me. I'm racking up probably like several days in a row, 4 hours of sleep. So, yeah, pardon me if I'm a little slow on some stuff today. All right, so now we're looking at the perimeter of this thing. And again, the more you look, the more you're going to find. I start to see this kind of swoop in of a ring, a partial ring over here now in the upper right-hand corner. And there's something weird kind of sitting up over here. So I invite you to, take a look deeper into all of this as well. And, again, do let me know if you see anything. I hate the word, but I don't know why I want to use it. Flabbergasted at what I'm seeing here. Okay, anyway, here's more of the same, but again, just kind of subtleties in the hues and how I'm applying the enhancement. Okay, maybe something new pops out at you. Here, I'm just playing with a little bit of the warmth and the warm tones in here. Again, just to see when you scan this area, if you see anything new pop out when I do that. Toggle back to the old. Again, that's a cooler cast, it's a warmer cast. Again, it kind of helps to accentuate the demarcation line between this weird, otherworldly cyan, teal color, turquoise color at the bottom, and then some kind of line here, and then it getting a cooler, more indigo color. And again, here we go. See just even the subtleties of these little moves, of these subtleties of the enhancements. Right now, I don't know if you can see it. You might need a bigger screen, but I see a pure circle here and another pure circle here, with a little protruding dome in each one. And actually that reminds me of one of these security head screws that you put like on a license plate. That's one of them where I forget what they call that, the little bullet in the middle. Anyway, of a depression. Anyway, let's keep going. Now, again, I'm taking it extreme black and white. I don't know what this is over at D.8b. But look at this, man. This thing is symmetrical. It's a little raggedy, but it's you can still see it's got like a perfect curve to it. In contrast to this, like long straight line here, and it looks like it has an arrowhead or like a spearhead at the end of it. Very bizarre, friends. Again, here's a little crater hole at the top, I'm calling it. And that looks like it has a tube. It looks a little bit of a circular end over here. So I think we're kind of seeing just something very partially cloaking over here. Now look here, this is interesting. We have a curve here in the void and the negative if you look at it. And that's the thing that's like that swath of darkness kind of running across here. This is a really bizarre scene. I'm going to move along. We'll have to touch on this later for all that's going on. All right, now I just kind of muted everything and flattened it out. Made it just monochrome or grayscale, and just to see if we see anything this way. See what you see. Clearly we see this becomes more like an object. We still have this hole here with whatever's going on here. Let me know your thoughts if you like. All right, now this is from my camera phone. Again, I was just going to post this to the community page, but then when I realized, what a significant find this is, I'm like, nope, I'm going to have to stay up super late and do a show out of it. So this was just with my finger on my phone. I zoomed in and just traced and sketched it. So obviously the earlier slides show the tools that I used, the geometry tools, so they're clean, circles. So this is just a little rough, but I still think it's okay. And again, that's that hole. And I really am starting to see like the ends of little pipes and really weird little curiosities. And of course over here, look at this thing. This kind of echoes, kind of repeats its form and shape, and it's, kind of parallel to each other. So definitely think something with intelligent design is cloaking back in here. All right, let's keep moving. And again, this is the sketchy line. And what I like here is, again, we've got the plasma material coming over. It interrupts and breaks where this line is very clearly. So again, no lens flare here. And whatever's going on, this is, flying up out of this thing. Actually, I thought this was flying up out of this, what I'm calling crater proper, but it looks like there's another kind of hole or something in here, maybe not as well delineated, that this is flying in or out of. It's really, really bizarre. And again, we've got this, kind of this swoosh, this, curved motion going on over here, so I'm not sure what's happening in this overall scene. See if you see anything very interesting. All right, well, this is the photo of the day and the close of the show. Just want to say happy spring 2023. It is the year of the rabbit in the Chinese calendar. And so I mentioned on my earlier show, actually, one of the card readings, if you're interested in those. I am using a nomenclature to title those shows with letters of the alphabet now, so they don't get confused with my longer shows, which show the sky stuff. So hopefully you're interested in both, but if you only want to see the sky stuff, now you know what to look for. And if you want just the card readings, you know what to look for, however you like. So in that earlier card reading show that I had today, which was called Hey There, Firestarter, I did talk about, there was the rabbit card came up. And we touched on that, and supposedly in the year of the rabbit is supposed to symbolize longevity, prosperity, and even hope. So let's look forward to whatever's coming. Again, when I show anything in the skies like this, it's never to be alarmist. I do not believe in gloom and doom. I fully believe that any shift that we have, if we have any planetary bodies coming close to the Earth, I do believe that on the spiritual level that we shift off or otherwise are protected in an energetic bubble, even something, that we will not be harmed per se, and that we will be able to transition away long enough, even if there is physical catastrophe on the face of the planet, if that's what's needed to purify the planet, and then, we come back, or some of us just keep going, whatever that means. I'm open to that scenario. So there's no way. I don't have it in my spirit, in my body, in my soul, nothing. I do not see a cataclysmic event. Again, if it is, we're not here or not going to be touched by it. And you know what? In the worst case, even if we were, then okay, so what? It's over quick, right? I mean, there's just no point sweating it, in my opinion. Especially if you know your spirit lives on. No matter what happens to the 3D body, no worries. Like there used to be this really cheesy TV ad for bubble gum, and I know a lot of you are going to know what I'm going to say probably, but it was for Hubba Bubba, and the little catch, little line, what I want to say, you know what I mean. The little hook on the commercial was big bubbles, no troubles. So when you blow a bubble and it smacks, like no worries, it's not going to stick to your face. That was the point of the little ad. So anyway, big bubbles, no troubles. No sweating it out for anything in this little 3D show that we got going on. So as always, that's it for now. Thanks for hopping over here a while. I wish you tremendous peace and love. And again, please share this far and wide. I would love to have feedback. Keep my name credited, Lavender Sky Panther. I would love to see this circulate, and let's see what's going on, because if that in fact is a planetary body, oh my good God, it's exciting. I find it very exciting. All right, thanks everyone. Have a beautiful right now. Lavender Sky Panther. Bye.